a hypothetical model for the utilization of surveillance technology in the South African retail environment. Please note that this paper is co-authored with two other professors from the Nelson Mandela University, namely Professor Smith and Professor Masibuko. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to be presenting on this conference. As an introduction, it is important to note that there's been increased public attention regarding the quality and safety control, traceability, as well as environmental issues of market offerings. And also, if we are to consider the South African retail environment and safety concerns, for instance, the prevalence of robberies, break-ins, shoplifting, and crime in general, it can be observed that managers need to be careful when it comes to the safety and security around their businesses. Retail crime negatively impacts on retailers. Hence, managers need to implement loss control measures to protect their businesses. According to Kajalo and Lindblom, 2015, surveillance is a safety and security measure, and in the field of business management research, surveillance is normally examined as a key component of crime prevention. Surveillance basically refers to physical devices that are implemented within the service environment to check the conduct of an activity, to ensure the normality of a situation, to follow the evolution of a procedure, to carefully observe or monitor someone or something, and to prevent action of thieves, vandals, delinquents, and other criminals. It can also be seen as a term involving the concepts of both controlling and caring. Surveillance allows service organizations to monitor employees' and customers' intentions and limit possible unwanted and harmful and illegal effects of on a service organization, its frontline service staff or customers. Most researchers focus on surveillance as a strategy for crime prevention. And in research, also in retail industry, you will find that when they speak of surveillance, they are mainly focusing on issues to do with crime prevention. According to Kajalo and Lindblom, 2015, they say there is scarcity of literature or scarcity of research within the retail environment, which lead researchers to include literature belonging to a wider security management field. Surveillance in the environment, in the retail environment, should be compatible with customer satisfaction. Technological surveillance solutions is one way in which organizations can meet customers' adequate and desired service levels. It is therefore important to investigate customers' perceptions as well as their expectations concerning the use and effectiveness of surveillance technology to enhance customers' shopping behavior in the South African retail environment. The problem statement basically stems from the issue of violent crimes which are rampant in South Africa as a result of unemployment, and this results in high demand for the services of businesses, for the services of businesses to install security systems, including surveillance technology. Crime against businesses and their customers is significant, yet crime detection methods are not keeping pace with crime in South Africa. Also, the uncoordinated presence of security guards creates a dilemma for retail management, as some of these guards, they also display aggressive and threatening behavior towards customers. Providing a safe and secure environment remains a major factor in store management and design. This is mainly because if customers do not feel safe and comfortable in a store environment, they are not likely to spend their money in that particular store. So the topic of surveillance is not well researched in the retail environment, as very little research is available and has evaluated the effectiveness of surveillance in the retail environment. There is need to understand surveillance from a consumer's viewpoint and crime prevention in the retail environment. There is also need for an ethical approach to marketing, as it has been noted that the use of CCTVs, which are part of surveillance technology, and other surveillance technologies in the retail environment can raise some ethical issues. Although service organizations should not adversely affect their customer service experience, very little research highlights the need to create a safe and at the same time pleasant service environment. And limited studies have attempted to examine customers' needs and expectations of surveillance in the retail environment. Thus far, surveillance and customer service experience are topics that have usually been examined separately. These are the research objectives. The primary objective of the study is to develop a hypothetical model of perceptions of consumers regarding the utilization of surveillance technology to enhance consumer shopping behavior in the South African retail environment. And to help achieve this primary objective, we also have secondary objectives, which are to provide a comprehensive literature overview regarding surveillance technology and consumer behavior in the retail environment, to develop a proposed hypothetical model regarding the utilization of surveillance technology in the retail industry in South Africa, and to outline the envisaged contributions of the study. In terms of literature review, we reviewed literature which you will also be able to read in the full paper, and you can go through it also on the slides. We reviewed literature in line with surveillance. We also reviewed literature in line with surveillance and customer service experience. We also looked at literature relating to surveillance and crime reduction. What happens when there is surveillance? What happens to crime? We also looked at literature regarding consumer behavior. So coming to the proposed research methodology of the study, in this study we will follow a positivist paradigm, which allows for quantitative research approach, and data will be collected from a large sample. We analyze using statistical techniques, and obviously we use the SPSS software to analyze data. The population for this study consists of all retail customers in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. So we'll conduct the study in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. We will use non-probability sampling method, and the sampling technique, we will use purposive sampling technique to select at least 450 customers from 3 of the largest towns in the Eastern Cape province, namely Port Elizabeth, East London, and Grahamstown, which is now Makhanda. We use both primary and secondary data. Primary data will for secondary data, we'll use information from journal articles, textbooks, as well as the internet. And for the primary data, that's where we use survey method and collect data using self-administered questionnaires. In terms of the research instrument, we will use the research instrument to collect data, primary data. We will use a questionnaire, which will have 4 sections. Section A will consist of questions focusing mainly on demographic data of the respondents. Then section B will investigate this. It will consist of questions that ask information regarding the use of surveillance technology in the retail sector by focusing on aspects of formal and informal surveillance, topology of shoppers, customer encounter. These will be the independent variables, and they will be measured on a 7-point Likert type ordinal scale. Then section C will assess perceptions of customers regarding surveillance technology in terms of their safety, security of customers, privacy, issues of ethics, ambience, and the level of service. Also, a Likert scale will also be used in this case. Then section D will focus on the dependent variables, the outcomes of the study, which are basically customer satisfaction, repurchase intention, and customer loyalty. Since we want to develop a hypothetical model for the utilization of surveillance technology in the retail environment in South Africa, we had to also review some models of surveillance technology that were developed by other people. We reviewed, these are some of the 3 models that we reviewed: the Question and Javnin model, which was developed in 2016. Kajalo and Lindblom also developed the model in 2010, and Bonfant also developed the model in 2016. So these models, they were very, very useful in helping us to develop our own hypothetical model, which we will also be researching on. So as was hypothesized in this study, surveillance technology, both formal and informal, may have an effect on the safety of customers and their privacy, ethics, and also on ambience of the level of service that customers experience. These factors, as a result of surveillance technology, may also have an effect on consumer satisfaction, loyalty, and repurchase intention. So to show this, you will see it on figure 1, which we included in this particular study. So we are saying formal surveillance, informal surveillance, typology of shoppers, repurchase intention, it affects these aspects: safety, privacy, ethics, and ambience, which will in turn also affect customer loyalty, customer satisfaction, and also service encounter. So this figure is very, very important for purposes of this study, because that's the hypothetical model of our study. And from the hypothetical model, we also developed these hypotheses, which are basically 7 hypotheses, and they are in line with the model that we had presented in the previous slide, where we are saying formal surveillance does not have an effect. These are now hypotheses that we are presenting. Formal surveillance does not have an effect on perceptions regarding the utilization of surveillance technology to enhance consumer shopping behavior in the South African retail environment. Then we'll also look at the very same aspects, but now focusing on informal surveillance. Then, pardon, there is an error here. There is nothing called informal formal surveillance. It's supposed to be formal surveillance. Then the typology of customers. Also, we are saying, the now hypothesis saying it does not have an effect on perceptions regarding the utilization of surveillance technology to enhance consumer shopping behavior in the South African context. Then service encounter. Then we'll also look at the perceptions regarding the use of surveillance technology, where we are saying the now hypothesis saying does not have an effect on consumer loyalty. Then also we are saying perceptions regarding the use of surveillance technology does not have an effect on customer satisfaction. And we are focusing on all these hypotheses in the South African retail environment. Then perceptions regarding the use of surveillance technology does not have an effect on consumer repurchase intention, as the 7 now hypothesis. Then how we operationalized these variables. Formal surveillance is organized and systematic and include guard patrols, CCTV and motion detector devices, and other surveillance systems. Although there are very few studies conducted on the effectiveness of surveillance technology, there are authors who claim that other studies have found a link between the use of formal surveillance and crime reduction in retail industry. In this study, constructs of formal surveillance will include cameras, alarm systems, presence of security personnel, and so forth. Then informal surveillance includes physical features, activities, and people. Informal surveillance is promoted by physical features activities and people to maximize visibility and foster social integration, perception that people can be seen. Earlier studies in retail stores maintain that the importance of investing in more informal rather than formal surveillance. In this study, constructs of surveillance, of informal surveillance, will include lighting in the premises, maintenance of the premises, and these were also used by other researchers. Then shopper typologies involve the classification that identifies a shopper based on the purchase behavior, motives, and attitudes. Shoppers are different in terms of their attitudes, motives, and also their buying behavior. Then service encounter. This can be described as transactional interactions in which one person provides a service or good to another, whereby customers interact with customer contact employees, either machines, automated systems, other physical facilities. Then issues of privacy and ethics. This we cannot ignore. The community often maintains some social concerns over surveillance, particularly the use of CCTV. This is mainly as a result of involuntary exposure that people may end up suffering. So surveillance raises issues to do with, it raises privacy challenges as well as ethical challenges. Then we also have a factor which is safety. Feelings of insecurity may weaken the attractiveness of a retail store and its reputation. We cannot ignore that. So we ought to we had to raise it. Then we also operationalized customer satisfaction and loyalty. So customer satisfaction is described as the result of a process in which each individual compares their own expectations with the experiences that other customers have. So one of the reasons why people visit a business or a shop is basically customer satisfaction. Then repurchase intention, it refers basically to the subjective probability that a customer will continue to purchase the products from the shop in the future, or from one store in the future. So contributions of this particular study. The study will contribute to the body of knowledge by closing the literature gap on perceptions of customers concerning the use of surveillance technology in the retail sector, particularly in the South African context. Although some research has been done, limited research has been conducted in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa to understand customers' perceptions of surveillance technology usage in the retail industry. Just to give background, Eastern Cape province is one of the poorest provinces in South Africa. Considering that people are different in terms of culture and what they generally accept, this study will provide insights that will be crucial to the marketing practitioners and policymakers in South Africa. The study will also provide a basis for further research regarding the topic of surveillance technology in the South African retail context. References for the paper, references for this presentation are included in the full paper which we have submitted to the journal. We are waiting for the review process, and we are hopeful that the paper will be accepted and be presented. And to contact the presenter, this is my name. I'm Dr. Tendai Chimucheka, and this is my email and my cell phone number. Just since I have 20 minutes, it's important for me to come back to the hypothetical model for this study, because the topic for this paper is developing a hypothetical model for the utilization of surveillance technology in the South African retail environment. I thank you, and I hope if there are questions, I will be able to receive those and respond to those. Also important is feedback. Any feedback that you think is important for us to incorporate, we also welcome that. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.